Hello everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video, we're going to learn how to send Stripe payment details to Google Sheets. So I am an owner of a business and I collect the payment from my customers on Stripe. Over here, what I want is that as soon as the payment is going to be done by the customer, automatically the record of it should be created in my Google Sheets. And doing that manually is a very time consuming and hectic process. So over here, I've built the connection between Stripe and Google Sheets without need of any coding and programming skills using Pabbly Connect. So now if you want to learn the entire process step by step, for that you have to come to me to my screen. In this video, we're going to learn how to send Stripe payment details to Google Sheets. So as an owner of a subscription-based business, I use Stripe to collect recurring payments from my customers. I use Google Sheets to maintain a clear, organized record of every successful transaction. This helps me keep the track of payments, generate reports, and analyze revenue trends effortlessly. Using Pabbly Connect, I've automated this entire process of logging each payment details directly into Google Sheets, saving time and ensuring accuracy in financial records. And I'm going to create this amazing connection between these two applications using Pabbly Connect. But before that, firstly, I'm going to show you how this amazing automation works in real time. I'm going to place a new order using this link in my Stripe account, and after that, I'm going to check whether the record of the order details is added over here in my Google Sheets or not. For doing the payment, I'm going to copy this URL from here and open it in a new tab right over here. This is the product that I have. Now let us purchase the product. Firstly, it is asking for the email address, for which over here I'm going to write it as test@pabblytudes.com. Okay. After that, over here it is asking for the card details, for which I'm going to enter the dummy card details right here. Next, it is asking for the name of the customer. For the name over here, I'm going to write over here as test user 3444. For the country over here, I'm going to select it as India right here. If I'm going to go down, it is asking for the address. For the address over here, I'm going to enter the dummy address right here. That is 123 New Street right here. Okay. For the city over here, I'm going to write over here as Mumbai. For the pin code over here, I'm going to enter a dummy pin code right here. And for the state over here, I'm going to select over here as Maharashtra. Okay. After filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on the subscribe button. And as I've done that, you can see it says thanks for subscribing. Okay. So as now the payment is done using Stripe payment link. Now if I'm going to open my Google Sheets, and yes, you can see the record has now been successfully created. This is the transaction ID. This is the customer name, that is test user 3444. Email is test@pabblytudes.com. Amount is 10,000. Payment date and time is right over here. Payment status over here comes as succeeded, and this is the entire address that we have entered. Okay. So as now the record of the details of our payment being done has been created over here in my Google Sheets. This is how this amazing automation between these two applications works in real time. And we're going to build the connection using Pabbly Connect. For that, on a new tab, I'm going to browse the website of Pabbly Connect, that is www.pabbly.com/connect. After browsing the website, Pabbly Connect's landing page is going to appear, on which you have two options. That is sign in or sign up for free. If you're an existing user, you can directly sign into your Pabbly Connect account. But if you're a new user, you can sign up for free and get 100 free tasks every month. I am an existing user, so I'm going to directly sign into my Pabbly Connect account. After signing in, you can see the All Pabbly Apps window in front of you, in which you can see all the applications that Pabbly provides, from which we are going to use Pabbly Connect. For that, click on this Access Now button right over here. Then Pabbly Connect's dashboard is going to appear in front of you. And now to build a new automation, we have to create a new workflow. For that, click on this Create Workflow button on the top right corner. Firstly, we have to name the workflow, which is going to be Send Stripe payment details to Google Sheets. This is the name of my workflow. For the folder, these are the folders, from which I'm going to select Workflows folder, and then I'm going to click on this Create button. As I've done that, you can see a new workflow has been created, and you can see that there are two windows in front of you. One is the trigger window, other is the action window. So what is trigger and action? Trigger and action are the two most important steps of our automation process, because our process depends on these two principles. Over here, trigger says when this happens, and action says do this. That means what is action? Action is a response towards our trigger. In an automation process, there can be only one trigger step but multiple action steps. We need to set up our trigger step first, in which for my trigger application, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select over here as Stripe. As whenever a new payment is going to be done by the customer using Stripe, I want the trigger over here should capture the response of that. That is why for my trigger application, I've selected it as Stripe, and the trigger event is going to be new charge. Okay. After selecting the trigger application and the event, you can see that Pabbly Connect has provided us with a webhook URL using which we are going to build the connection between Stripe and Pabbly Connect. And we have to do that by following the steps given here below in the help desk. Copy this URL from here and log into your Stripe account. After coming to Stripe, from the left side, go to this developers section right over here. After coming to developers, go to the webhook section right here. After coming to the webhooks, now we have to create a new webhook. For that, we have to click on this add endpoint button right here. Okay. Firstly, it is asking for the endpoint URL, for which I'm going to paste the webhook URL that Pabbly Connect has provided us. I don't have any description, so I'm going to skip the part. List 2 is going to be events on your account. Version, I want to select the latest API version, so I'm going to select it. And for the event, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select over here as charge creation. Okay, you can see it says charge succeeded is the event that we have to select over here. So I'm going to copy this event from here, search it right over here, and select this event from here, add the event. Okay, as with the help of this event, only the payment which are successfully done is going to be captured over here in this trigger response. Okay, after selecting the event, I'm going to add the endpoint from here. As I've done that, a new endpoint has been added and you can see the status is enabled right here. Okay, so as now the endpoint has been added, I want to tell you one thing. My Stripe account is running on a test mode. You can see right away it says test mode. In the similar manner, you have to connect your live account as well as with Pabbly Connect. Okay, so this is how you build a connection. If I'm going to go back to my workflow and scroll down, it says waiting for webhook response. So now to check whether Stripe is successfully connected to Pabbly Connect or not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to test the connection by doing another payment using Stripe. For that, I'm going to open my payment link section right over here. This is the payment link right over here using which the payment is going to be done. I'm going to copy this link and open it in a new tab right over here. Okay. Firstly, it is asking for the email address of my customer. So for the email address over here, I'm going to write it as new@pabblytudes.com. Okay. For the card over here, I'm going to enter the dummy card details right here. So I've entered the dummy card details. For the card holder name over here, I'm going to write it as new user. Okay. For the country over here, I'm going to select it as India. After that, it is asking for the address. For that over here, I'm going to write it as 1111. After that, it is asking for the city. For the city over here, let's suppose I'm going to write it as Indore. And for the pin code over here, I'm going to write over here as this pin code. And for the state, I'm going to select it as Madhya Pradesh. After filling in all the details, I'm going to click on the subscribe button right over here. And you can see right away it says thanks for subscribing. This means now the payment is now done successfully of 10,000 rupees. Okay. As the payment is done, I'm going to go back to my workflow and scroll down. And yes, you can see the response of the new payment has been captured in my trigger right here. The type is charge succeeded. You can see right over here. This is the ID. You can see right over here. If I'm going to further scroll down, status is succeeded. You can see right over here. If I'm going to further scroll down, method is card. Description is subscription created. You can see right over here. The name is new user. Email is new@pabblytudes.com. State is MP, that is Madhya Pradesh. Pin code is this, the pin code. This is the address. Country is IN, that is India. City is Indore. If I'm going to further scroll down, the amount comes over here as 10,000. But over here in the amount, you can see I've received the amount with 2 extra zeros. The amount was only 10,000. You can see right over here. But in the response, you have received it with 2 extra zeros. So firstly, we need to remove those 2 zeros from our trigger. Every time a new response of the charge succeeded is going to be captured over here in my trigger, a payment is going to be captured. The response will have the amount with 2 extra zeros. Now to remove the 2 extra zeros, we need to set up our action step, in which from action application, we have to select it as number formatter by Pabbly. Is an amazing feature by Pabbly that helps us to format the number according to our requirement. Action event, I'm going to select it as perform math operation. Why am I selecting this action event? As we'll receive in our trigger a number, an amount with 2 extra zeros. In order to remove those 2 zeros, what we are going to do is we are going to divide the amount by 100. And as we're going to do that, the 2 zeros is going to be removed. Okay. So I'm going to click on this connect button right over here. It is asking for the numbers. Which numbers are we going to divide? Okay. For entering the numbers, you have to enter it like 100, 200. So we are going to enter an amount, 100, as we want to divide the amount with 100. Okay. So now for the data of this field for the amount, I'm going to map the data, which is inserting data from the previous step. So I'm going to insert the data from the previous step of this workflow. How it works is that as soon as I'm going to select the field, the previous step is going to appear in front of you. As I'm going to click on it, the response that was captured in our previous step is going to appear in front of you. I'm going to search for the amount right over here, and this is the amount. I'm going to select the data of this amount from my previous response as I want to edit this amount. As I've selected the data from my previous response, this data is now been mapped. And as I've mapped this data, the data has now become dynamic. That means now whenever a new response is going to be captured over here in our previous step, automatically the new data is going to be updated in place of this mapped data. As I want to divide it by 100, I'm going to write it as comma 100 right over here, okay? So this is the number. Operation is going to be divide. Then I'm going to click on this save and send test request button. As I've done that, you can see I've received the amount without the 2 extra zeros, okay? So now as we have all the details, using all the details, we are going to add all the details in our Google Sheets. For that, I'm going to add an action step in this workflow, in which from action application, I'm going to select over here as Google Sheets, and action event is going to be add new row. Then I'm going to click on this connect button. A window is going to appear in front of you, on which click on add new connection. Then click on this sign in with Google button right over here. As I've done that, it is asking for us to choose an account first. Which account do we want to connect to Pabbly Connect? This is the account. I'm going to select it. And then it is asking for the permission for this account, for which I'm going to click on this allow button, as this is a safe process and my data is perfectly safe with Pabbly Connect. So I'm going to click on this allow button, and as I've done that, you can see Google Sheets is now been successfully authorized with Pabbly Connect. Firstly, for this spreadsheet, I'm going to select over here as Stripe order details. So for the spreadsheet, I'm going to select it from here. Sheet as sheet 1, you can see right over here. That is why for the sheet, I've selected it as sheet 1. For the transaction ID, I'm going to map the data of the transaction ID. I'm going to search for the ID. I'm going to map the data. For the name of my customer, I'm going to map the data of the name of my customer right over here. This is the name. I'm going to map the data. For the email address, I'm going to map the data of the email address right here. For the amount, I'm going to map the data of this edited amount. So now as I'm going to manage my currency over here in rupees, so I'm going to write over here rupees / and dash in the front and in the end of the amount. For the payment date over here, I'm going to search for the created right here. We have received the created over here in a timestamp format. I do not want the date in a timestamp format, so I'm going to edit the date. And for the date over here, for doing that, I'm going to select my action application as date time formatter by Pabbly, using which we can format the date and the time according to our requirement. Action event is going to be format date with time zone, and then I'm going to click on this connect button. For the date over here, I'm going to map the date of the created time right here. For the from format over here, I'm going to select the timestamp format as we've received the data in a timestamp format. And for the to format, I'm going to select this format right over here with the date and the time of the payment. For the from time zone, I'm going to select over here as UTC time zone format. And for the to time zone, I'm going to select as Asia Kolkata format. And then I'm going to click on this save and send test request button. I've received the date and time. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to map the data of this date and time right here. Okay, I'm going to map the data. For the status, I'm going to search for the status right over here. This is the status that has succeeded. So I'm going to select over here the status as succeeded. And for the address, I'm going to map the data of the address right over here. So this is the address. After filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on this save and send test request button. I've received a response, which is a positive response. If I'm going to open my spreadsheet, and yes, you can see the record of the new order details has been added in my Google Sheets as well. This is the name, this is the ID. Over here, this is the email address, the amount, date and time you can see right over here. Status as succeeded, and the shipping address, this is the address, okay? So as now the record has been created, this means that we have successfully built the connection between Stripe and Google Sheets using Pabbly Connect. So now to sum up till now what we have done, trigger is Stripe new charge. As soon as a new payment is going to be done by the customer using Stripe, automatically the trigger is going to capture the response of that. And as I want to create the record of the details in my Google Sheets, I've added this action step, that is Google Sheets add new row. And in this manner, I've built the connection between Stripe and Google Sheets without need of any coding and programming skills using Pabbly Connect. So this was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Not just with these applications, you can create automation between multiple applications using Pabbly Connect. If you have any doubts, you can send us email on support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can ask us queries on forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can check out this link. If you like this video, please do subscribe to our channel and hit the like button down there.